What color is the room? It's purple. Who said purple? Purple, Nicole. Nice. There's only so many colors I can choose from. Well, we have a lot of colors actually. Let me show you what colors we got. So so we're playing a fair game here because we might do something fun at least for now. We're just gonna have this is it. This is how I do it. So I just choose. I'm not going to do white or any of that, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, we can do any color. But today we're going to go with purple. I feel like purple is suitable. It's like a bluish purple color. But welcome back, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. It is your boy Danks from Danksters Intel. We have a great show today. We're going to have fun. We're going to troll a little bit. Just like the FBI likes to troll, we're going to troll a little bit. So please put a fire emoji in the chat if you're a Dankster, if you're a member or not. You can join for 99 cents, but for Saturday only live streams for the members. But yeah, man, so this week has been interesting so far. What's today? Tuesday only. Yesterday, we saw some interesting stuff from ours truly, Baron Coleman, and also from Candace, right? And the stuff about Candace that we're going to dive into with the FBI rapid response team or FBI response team. I find it very interesting to say the least because I also have been involved most recently regarding the FBI response team with Elizabeth Lane, and I find it very concerning / interesting, I guess. Cassia from De La Fredo, shout out to Cassia. If I'm saying that correctly, she covered that this morning, saying, she's from like communist dictatorship Poland, I think she said, and like it's just almost a shame to see the way the FBI, allegedly FBI, I guess they have the official seal, is attacking Candace or trolling using emojis and all this stuff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're just going to jump right in here. I'll show you what I am talking about, which is this right here. Let me use my hotkeys because I'm fancy like that. So yeah, as you can see here, the FBI. So let me see, what time was this? While Candace was live, I guess. What was this? 15th. Excuse me. So they said, please show us the documents sent. What's so crazy is Candace actually showed everything. So it speaks a lot when, the troller's going to troll. I love that in the chat. Someone said troller's going to troll the trolls, right? I guess we got to troll the trolls. I haven't seen her latest video, but I'm down to check it out. I love Olivia Swing. I think she's an awesome journalist or reporter or content creator. But yeah, this is... we're going to show the clip. Look, I know Coach Colin has showed it. Cassie has shown it. So if you want, just tell me in the chat. Do you want me to show you the clips of Baron and of Candace? I don't want to constantly play what other people have done, but I'm happy to as well. This is the via FOIA. So Candace posted this in the morning yesterday via FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. So like Candace is requesting Kash Patel's timeline of which is an FBI director, our FBI director, involved in the calling of Charlie Kirk's Fed slop narrative, right? Like literally officializing or whatever, officiating, making it official of the narrative, okay? Fed slop narrative. This is where we are getting the narrative from Kash Patel, okay? I think it is pertinent to know what our FBI director with the American taxpayers' dollars is doing. And I think that anything that she's requested is, to my knowledge, very, very much legal. And if I am misunderstanding, should be a requirement. Now, I can see the FBI saying, oh, well, this is, private information while he's working in while he's in office, maybe, but I just can't find... to be fair, I haven't looked up the legalities. I'm sure if Candace did it and requested a FOIA, summoned a FOIA or whatever, I'm sure that she is already aware that this is totally legal to do and timeline is totally reasonable. which I believe it is. I think that it should be reasonable and that it should be summoned and requested. And their excuse is abnormal, to say the least. We're going to cover that. Okay. We're going to cover today Blake Neff. I'm going to show a little bit more. I know Barron is probably going to be, I don't know, actually. I don't know what Barron plans on doing, if he's going to go further into that. I'm going to just show some of the news articles, some of the things, and also the website auto admit a couple of things that they do on that website, the message board itself. Now, I will say the post from Charles the 12th are not, it's very hard for me to find them. That's why it took me so long to start the show, is because I was looking through the F12 console, the archive, trying to look through the elements of the website itself to see if I could get a visual confirmation of certain posts. But I will show you some very interesting things regarding what they post on there, and also what they post underneath being called out on their own message board. But to be honest, the stuff that's being posted even today, 614, whether or not it's him, to be engaging on this platform is free. You're free to do it if you want. What I mean is we're free as Americans. But I will say, if I were a donor to Turning Point USA and I knew that this person, Blake Neff, was interacting on this site, I would immediately call. Like, if I had enough money and I was like, heavy hitter at the board, I'd be like, bro, what? This guy is here on this site. He's ever used this site. He got fired from Fox and then he worked for Stu Peters, talking against all the things that we find to be valued in the, Judeo-Christian community. I'd be very alarmed, I would say probably, and it's just interesting because what it tells me is, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. And then we'll look at the FBI response team, what they said about Elizabeth Lane, who they responded to when it comes to when it comes to what's his name, Gary, Paramount Tactical. So yeah. That being said, we're going to be covering that too. Kind of just looking at a couple of other things. I found an article which I find very interesting. It's an article from 2017. I think maybe we can open with that. I'm going to show you this article, which I found very interesting. I'm going to also show you a video clip of when Stu Peters was working with Blake Neff, allegedly. Like, I don't have an official, just like what Barron was saying yesterday, myself, but we do have confirmed from Stu Peters himself that he was working. So here, let's take a look at this first. So if you don't know, yesterday Barron made a spectacle, might I say, of Blake Neff, and it was confirmed by Stu Peters. So first, before I play this, Stu Peters posted this last night, 8:54 Pacific time in the evening, June 15th. And Stu Peters says Blake Neff was hired as a contributing writer for the Stu Peters Network after Fox fired him. Now he's at Turning Point USA defending Boston and the official Charlie Kirk story. Story is a good word for it, a story. Great writer, but super weird and ideological whore who flips for money and access. Ask Neff why he switched. Well, Blake Neff, why did you leave the Stu Peters Network for Turning Point USA? I'm very, very curious. I'm probably nobody worth responding to, in your opinion. So I figured I'd ask anyways, but let's see what Barron said here.
But what is no longer an open question to me is, what was he doing in those intervening years, or at least the intervening months? Because I got a tip. On the show, I kind of asked the question, what was he doing before he went to work at TPUSA, and I finally got a tip. And they said he was working for another content creator.
Just the tip.
You should look into it. So I did. And I found nothing. I asked around. I could find nothing. So I go back to my source. What content creator are you talking about? Because I keep looking. I've asked around. I can find nobody. And they said he was working for Stu Peters.
Stu Peters. Well, everyone might be wondering, if you don't know Stu Peters, why is this such a big deal? Why would Barron say anything about it all? Why did Barron have a prologue before this episode saying, Blake, you might want to let people know who you work for. They might not like it. You might want to tell people, Blake, this is kind of important. You might want to at least out yourself so I don't have to do it for you. I think that was very, very kind of Barron to actually give Blake a heads up. I wouldn't have done that. But that's why Barron is the GOAT, right? Well, why is Stu Peters such a problem for the likes of someone that maybe works at TPUSA? I mean, all you have to do, to be honest with you, it's really not that hard to figure out. All you got to do is just come here and type in these words, this word, GAZA, and you can just see what he talked about. And he's always been doing this. Like, for example, he's just not a fan of our favorite ally.
And as Trey Yinks was reporting on this as it all unfolded yesterday, live from Israel, of course.
This is a major development. Iranian state media reports that Iranian negotiators will stop exchanging messages with American negotiators who are trying to reach a deal to end the war. This comes amid Iranian opposition to the Israeli strikes that are taking place against Iran's largest proxy, Hezbollah, in Lebanon. And as Israeli ground forces advance in southern Lebanon, and Israel's prime...
Let me see if I can find something.
Lebanon is just prime real estate. So yeah, these two fronts are tied together. They are linked. It's the same war. It's the war for greater Israel. A war that in all likelihood will not be coming to a close anytime soon. In fact, quite the opposite. Number one, Israel won't allow it to.
So I don't want to play too much of that. I don't know where YouTube stands. I mean, there are things I do want to actually, there was a clip that I found that I wanted to share. I thought it was interesting. So this was back in 2024. I don't know the official date of when Blake left. But for example, like, this is a post that he made, Stu Peters, December 22nd, 2024. So just to give you an idea, like, who Blake worked for. And it says, these are the Guatemalan hat people, blue, red, white, and blue, or not red, white, blue and white team that were raided for traffic lights. 160 of them were saved from these degenerates. So this is apparently in Guatemala, raided for alleged, I mean, I don't know, you tell me what you think that means. That's kind of why people are like, I am just as much curious / concerned, like, what the change is. So what is the change exactly? Like, that's the thing. And I don't have an answer for you on that. But I will tell you, like, it's a very dramatic shift, right? It's a very big shift to go from that, like, to go from Fox News, get fired for, I mean, I guess let's just take a look. So before we dive further in, please like and subscribe. If you aren't subscribed, check to make sure you haven't been unsubscribed. I can track my unsubscribed ratio. We lost 2,200 subscribers over the last month. So please check to see if you're subscribed in case they're unsubscribing you as well. This has been happening, unsubscribe campaign. So that, as well as join Club Vatra. if you want to come tomorrow, we have our AI session where we're going to be showing how to prompt and do all these interesting research techniques with AI. So you can join the investigator tier. It's $10 a month, and you can join our private community through clubwatcher.com/danksterintel, or you can just tip and donate there. We get more of the percentage than what YouTube offers or any other platform for that matter, almost all of it. So please go to clubwatcher.com/danksterintel if you want to support me, join the community, be involved in the conversation, or just hang out, chit chat, or donate. Any one of those are great, and there's other creators there as well. So please go to clubwatcher.com, clubvatra.sizzles.com. All right, there's no sizzles. I'm just kidding. All right, so again, when you see somebody that I'm going to show you these articles from like CNN and Fox News and Tucker and the response of Tucker and stuff, it begs the question, what is Blake Neff? Like, what is he exactly? You know, that's something that I don't have an answer for you on that. I will say, though, the Washington Post had made an interesting article. This was in 2017. I guess they do something like rate the date or something like that. It says Date Lab. So he is a proud Trump supporter. She was not turned off. So this is September 21st, 2017, more than 8 years ago. Look, we all have lives. It's fine. I think this is a very cute picture, to be honest. I think I don't think that they ended up together, but I'll tell you why at the end of this little post here. But this is Blakey Poo 8 years ago, more than. And then a 24-year-old client relations lady for a startup. Blake Neff at that time, 27, cable news scriptwriter. Here it says Daniel Seiss / for the Washington Post. I couldn't confirm that if he was working for the Washington Post. I don't think he was, but this is Date Labbers, right? So they had their date put on this website. I thought it was very interesting. So there was something that she said that kind of crossed my mind as interesting. And this is such a strange Washington Post because they made like these graphics. Your type, Mackenzie. I like smart Southern boy types. This is what it says. My Southern accent is terrible. I like smart Southern boy types. Blake, virtuous, loyal, values family and lifestyle over ambitious career goals, interested in art, literature, and ideas. Well, you're interested in ideas, okay? Funny, question mark, Mackenzie. Smart humor and quick wit are important to me. I also love impressions and accents, though I'm terrible at both. And Blake says, funny. Blake, willingness to see the ironies and oddities in anything, even if it's dark or mundane. All right. So he's interested in art, literature, and ideas, and he wants his date to have the willingness to see irony and the oddities in anything. Specifically, well, even if it's dark or mundane, which I like dark humor. Don't get me wrong. I love dark humor. I love George Carlin. I think Louis C.K. is hilarious. You know, I like dark humor. All right. I go and I see Jimmy Dore all the time. I've seen him 3 times already. So I like dark humor. But this humor, might I tell you, is beyond dark. It's a little something else. It's not something else. It's not dark. Hobbies. Mackenzie says, I love politics, current events, history, traveling, college sports, being active, and staying in touch with my friends. His hobbies, most of my hobbies allow me to escape women. Well, my, why would you want to escape women? Let's go look at this. Let's see. So it says here that Blake, his hobbies allow him to escape women. What does that mean exactly? I think this is very interesting. I am not quite sure what that means. Are they for me, when I think of like a hobby to escape women, I think of, I mean, you can do a lot of things. How about that? You can do a lot of things. I don't do the things that I do. My hobbies, coding or vibe coding, doing AI research. I guess I escape everybody, but particularly escaping women, it's not like I engage and interact with women all the time doing what I do. So like for me, I'm curious on what this could be. Like when this to me just thinks of gay, I think of gay bar, to be honest. But then again, I don't know what other hobbies you would do, maybe just by yourself, but you would say men and women or people, right? So I find that interesting, to say the least. But I want to go down to the end of the article here. So they summed up the article. All right. So it says here, weirdly, so this is like confirming how the date went. It's like rate the date. Weirdly, neither Mackenzie nor Blake could say for certain how the evening went. I'm trying to zoom in for you. Blake feared Mackenzie didn't get his sense of humor. She laughed some, but not a ton. She also suspected she was sending a signal with her remark that she's not sure she's looking for a relationship right now. His thought, if I were Brad Pitt, you would be. So this is him saying, if I looked like Brad Pitt if I was Brad Pitt, you would be looking for. So she goes on a date. Bro, this is hilarious. She goes on a date, clearly interested in going on a date, goes on it, and then says, I'm not sure I'm looking for a relationship right now when asked about it. And then he says, if I were Brad Pitt, you would be. Well, I don't know. A date, well, a relationship and sex are two very different things. For her part, Mackenzie expressed anxiety that Blake would feel moved to trash her in his post-date debriefing, and she acknowledged a lack of initial sizzle. I'm not sure on either side there was physical chemistry. Blake is keeping his expectations low, as he told me things could totally blow up going forward. What does that mean exactly? So rate the date, Mackenzie 4, Blake 4. So they both rated it a 4. I don't know if 4 is bad or good. Does anybody explain? No, I don't think. So I found that very interesting, that old article there. If we were to see like the activity that is on that website, Auto Admit, which it claims to be the most prestigious law admissions board, discussion board. But if we look here, you can see like a lot of things. Maybe I'm not going to read out loud, but you can read it for yourself. If I just, these are the things that have conversations on this, website. Like here, you could just see what it is. You can even see underneath some of the posts they make. This is recent. This was 6/14/2026. And then I think these are the people that are posting it potentially. Let's see. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything. But if you just stroll down this website, you would probably see what I mean. Also, yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here. I don't want to go too far on that because I'm not sure. I don't want to show too much. You can go on your own if you have the stomach for it. there's lots of things to look at. I think one thing I will say is I went to here, I'll show you this page actually. So this is from 2019. All right. Now, I ran this thread. I'm not sure if it is Charles the 12th or not. I can't verify that because when I click on them, I think they just disappear or they're deleted. Yeah. So, and you have to have like a .edu login. So anybody who has a .edu login can go to autoadmit.com and look yourself. But for example, let's see, like this one right here, I can just kind of highlight it, maybe. You know, these are the way they talk about people. This is just the website. I mean, this is it. It's a message board, and this is how they talk. You know what I mean? This is how they talk. And so it's a little concerning, to say the least. So that's kind of why I'm saying, that is exactly why I'm saying, well, what is the big deal when Barron says, oh, well, he used to go on this message board or he got fired for, you know, we've all had experiences at jobs. Maybe you've gotten fired, maybe not. I've been fired before, you know, for things that I felt were not true or things that happened, like whatever, you know, I don't even remember now. It's been so long, but we've all had experiences. But when you pile them together and you see like actual Tucker Carlson having to respond, which he responded very mildly to, on the resignation of his top writer, which we'll go ahead and show here. This is a CNN article. I'm not sure if Barron showed it or not. Here we go. So Tucker Carlson's top writer resigns after secretly posting racist and sexist remarks in an online forum. So the forum that I just showed you is the forum that they're referring to. Okay. We could see what this says. I haven't watched this video, but I wouldn't mind if there's anything here. Oh no, it's got an ad. We'll let the ad play. The top writer from Fox News host Tucker Carlson has for years been using a pseudonym to post bigoted remarks on an online forum that is a hotbed for racist, sexist, and other offensive content. Let's see what he says.
Tucker
here.
Carlson has resigned.
Nothing better than this guy to be saying anything.
From the network after a CNN investigation uncovered his racist and sexist comments on an online message board. CNN senior media reporter Oliver Darcy broke the story. He joins me now. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much. So tell us what you have learned about this ex-Tucker Carlson lead writer.
Hey, Don. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's top writer, we found, had been posting on a message board under a pseudonym racist comments, sexist comments, frankly, comments that are too horrific to read on air to you. Largely, they use very vulgar language, and it's just shocking to read. I think if viewers go and check it out on CNN.com, they'll be pretty stunned. But let's zoom back. What we're looking at here is the person that was helping to write the monologues of Tucker Carlson, which are seen by millions of people each night. He has the top-rated show on cable news, the top-rated show actually in cable history the last quarter. The person writing the monologues, helping Tucker Carlson shape those monologues, has been posting for years vulgar, racist, horrific comments on a secret message board. And you know what? We don't know for sure if this writer had actually written the monologues that the president has shared, but Trump does share a lot of Tucker Carlson's monologues, and according to this writer, he had recently told his alumni magazine that he writes everything that's in Tucker Carlson's teleprompter.
So he even admitted on the message board, oh, I write everything for Tucker. So he aired himself out, trying to get clout, maybe. Aired himself out, and this came out. This made headline breaking news. Okay. Breaking news. Look at right on the screen. Breaking news. So Tucker Carlson has an allegiance and a loyalty, Barron. If you watched the show yesterday, I'll play a little bit of that. But to think that he was actually sliding in things for Tucker Carlson to read is kind of ridiculous. Things that probably shouldn't have slid in there.
Well, I want to read one of the comments. You said some of them were too horrific, but one of the comments that you uncovered in your investigation on the post from this past June, okay, he wrote, "Black dudes staying inside playing Call of Duty is probably one of the biggest factors keeping crime down." That is bad enough, and then it got worse, correct?
It got a lot worse, Don. I mean, frankly, that's a disgusting comment. But if you go and look at the story, you'll see things again that we just can't repeat on air.
It's that bad. You can't even repeat it. I can't even repeat it on YouTube. I can't even repeat it. And he's been doing this for years, right? He's been doing this for years. And if you can't, like Barron, he put it out on digging into Blake Neff yesterday. He did it one other time, I think, as well. But the producer is now, this guy, Blake Neff, is now the producer of the Charlie Kirk show. Okay. And you're wearing a mask. Like, this is the thing is, like, if that was the lightest thing, like black dudes are whatever playing Call of Duty, so crime rate is down, you got to think, if that was the thing that could be said, what about all the other things that couldn't be said, right? There are a lot of other things, which deciding if I'm going to show anything. But I don't know, man. You don't just get rid of those ideological insights from yourself. Those don't just disappear, right? They don't go away. It's part of who you are. Talking about Asian people, never having surgical whatever, never allowing an Asian to do surgery on me, or whatever it might be, right? There's a lot of things here that you have to digest. And then when you add Stu Peters into the picture, and then you top it off with Turning Point USA, there's questions here now. It's like, well, how did you get these jobs? Maybe you're that good of a writer, but how did you get these jobs? And nobody looked into your past. If so, they're that forgiving that you act like a radical, extreme leftist while working for the most extreme right. It almost feels like a leftist penetrated the right and got in to, I don't know, learn about the things that they're doing, because Turning Point USA leads the charge in the far right. I would say, to me, it's far right. I don't know if there's further right, maybe there is, but it feels like a leftist was, who I believe to be Blake Neff, was tasked with infiltrating the right. Got fired, took a break, went over to Stu Peters, where he was welcomed with open arms. Maybe, I think Stu Peters is also right as well, right-leaning, but has more against the ideologies of some of the more far right. So it kind of like fit the niche. This is just my own hypothesis. I'll wrap this in allegedly as well. Like, I'm just guessing here, but it feels like someone with leftist extreme ideologies who claims to be conservative, but then has very radical insights to the way he believes life should be. So if you are this type of mentality, and then you go and you work for Tucker Carlson at Fox News, sliding in things that shouldn't be said. I mean, I want to play the rest of this clip to see what they say. I haven't seen it, so let's see what else they say. But it begs to ask the question, is he an op?
You know, this was behavior that was occurring over the past few years, but also as recently as this week. I think the first example in our story that we cite was from this week. And so, you know, taking together, it paints a picture of this person, again, who's one of the top writers at Fox News. He writes the scripts for the top show on the channel, has been engaged in some pretty disturbing behavior on his spare time under the pseudonym that we uncovered to be him.
Oliver, talk to me about what Fox and Neff are saying about your investigation, because it's not as if they haven't been under fire already for the kinds of things Tucker says on his broadcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, so Fox News only said that this person had resigned. They didn't talk any further about it. They didn't release any other statement. That was all they said. A spokesperson for the network told me earlier today that Tucker Carlson could not be reached for comments. Tucker himself did not directly address this on his program tonight, but he did do a segment about cancel culture and seemed to allude to the story, saying that CNN in particular apparently is a force of cancel culture that's, I guess apparently in his eyes, not good for society. And like you said, though, Don, Tucker has been in trouble, and he's got in a hot water over the past few years for some comments. I think we actually have some of these comments where he's called white supremacy a hoax.
So how do we not know that Tucker, for the first time, maybe reading this on air, and somehow things got in between the cracks? I don't know how screenwriting or script writing for Fox News is supposed to be, but there are things, I believe, that have been said by Tucker that he wrote into his script. And then Charles the 12th on the messaging board laughed and mocked and said, "Oh, I got him to say this, this, and that." Allegedly, it's what I read. Like, this was like months ago that I read this stuff. Jesse on Fire, I think, was the first one that I saw bring this out. There was, I think it was like the Young Turks. I can't remember now where I saw the first video, but Tucker has said some things, and if Charles the 12th or if Blake Neff is writing it, and he's got this racist, sexist, we've already shown you, like, again, he wants to get away from women in his hobbies. Most of my hobbies allow me to escape women. Well, what's wrong with women? Your CEO is a woman, might I remind you, Blake. So it's very interesting for sure.
Among other things.
And the reason why this is even worth talking about is because I want Turning Point USA to be great, actually. I want them to do the right thing and follow Charlie's vision. But it's like things like this that get slid in between the cracks, and they end up showing their true colors, because now that Charlie is gone, Blake is starting to show more of his true colors, trolling black women like Candace on the internet, trolling other people that are minorities on the internet, talking in whatever direction his paycheck allows him to. Now his true colors are coming out further, right? He is on X constantly being, I guess, himself, right? Which is fine. But you're representing a company that is worth a lot of money, that's supposed to be representing the country, with a vision of someone who was killed because of his vision. Because somebody like you speaking the way that you speak, Blake, probably wouldn't be ideal for the vision that Charlie was serving.
This may be a lot of things, this moment we're living through, but it is definitely not about Black lives. And remember that when they come for you, and at this rate, they will.
If you were to assemble a list, a hierarchy of concerns, of problems this country faces, where would white supremacy be on the list? Right up there with Russia, probably. It's actually not a real problem in America. White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax. Just like the Russia hoax. It's a conspiracy theory. In the year 2000, Hazleton's population was 2% Hispanic.
Yeah, I mean, all the white. So what they're showing, I believe, are times when they are to believe that Blake had been writing these scripts.
Just 16 years later, Hazleton is majority Hispanic. That's a lot of change. How would you feel if that happened in your neighborhood?
There are too many comments, Don, like that you would, if you wanted to actually play that, you'd have to play hours of the comments where Tucker Carlson has ignited controversy for his discussions on race. But those comments look a little different maybe to viewers tonight, when they know that the person who wrote the first draft, perhaps, of some of them was an openly posting racist comments, sexist comments on this online message board.
Right? Oh, I believe that might be the case. Definitely different now knowing that your writer was openly posting. So what else was he saying? Let me So this is on NBC News right here. So more coverage of that time. This one says Fox News media strongly condemns this horrific, racist, misogynistic, and homophobic behavior, said CEO Suzanne Scott and President Jay Wallace. And these are some of the things that Blake Neff had said, according to NBC News. Let me see here. So Neff wrote posts such as, about the black dudes thing. Let's see what black dudes staying inside playing Call of Duty is probably one of the biggest factors keeping crime down, and wouldn't get LASIK from an Asian for free. In response to a thread with the subject line, "Would you let a jet black Congo N-word do LASIK eye surgery on you for 50% off?" And his response is, "I wouldn't get LASIK from an Asian for free. So of course not. I wouldn't get that with a Congo black dude, except racially charged N-word." And they wanted to make abundantly clear that Fox Media condemns all of this, and Neff's abhorrent conduct on this forum was never divulged to the show or the network until that Friday, at which point we swiftly accepted his resignation. That was kind of them to let him resign. They said, "Make no mistake, actions such as his cannot and will not be tolerated at any time in any part of our workforce." And I agree. I think that any workforce where you're public facing an audience, whether you're a writer, whether you are a visual part, like a speaker or commentator on the show, I find it abhorrent as well, that you are this type of a minded person. Like, I mean, again, what is your purpose if, like, what? It's very strange. It's very strange. I don't know what else to say. Let me see if I can pull this up here. So it was so bad that the Marine Corps quietly cuts ties with former top Tucker Carlson writer after racist, sexist posts surface. This was July 16th, 2020. So the Marine Corps has quietly cut ties with Blake Neff, a former top writer for Tucker Carlson, after a number of racist, sexist online posts were written in secret. Neff, 29, who resigned Friday, was immediately removed from his list of experts helping to support wargaming exercises at the Marine Corps War College. Marine Corps War College. He was helping to support wargaming exercises. Neff had been a wargaming subject matter expert for the college since October of 2016 and had taken part in wargaming exercises with the Marines more than a dozen times. We recently learned that a wargaming expert who had previously provided support to the Marine Corps War College was responsible for racist social media posts, said Captain Monica Witt, a Marine spokesperson. They immediately removed Neff from the list of experts who support our educational wargaming program. Mr. Neff's language and behavior do not represent the Marine Corps University or the United States Marine Corps. So the Marine Corps says, precedingly, they do not tolerate racist, sexist, or homophobic behavior, said Witt. And Carlson briefly addressed the controversy, et cetera, et cetera. And it remains unclear exactly how or why Neff was brought in to help at the War College, though an employee from Marine Corps University, which oversees the college and other schools, told Task and Purpose on condition of anonymity that it was common for professional military institutions to bring in outside speakers or advisors such as Neff. They were known in the gaming community, the employee said, as noted experts in historical military games that focus on strategic level decision making. Witt declined to answer questions about Neff's qualifications or who hired him. Though he was never officially an employee, Neff was paid a total of $14,000 from a pool of money reserved for outside experts and guest speakers. Each honorarium request receives a substantive legal and fiscal review prior to approval, said Witt, and Mr. Neff's role was simply to support wargaming. He did not teach or instruct students on military history or strategy. Neff was among a number of people brought in, and usually they are colonels and lieutenant colonels. In a typical war game exercise, the college would have about 30 officers broken into 6 groups where they would huddle around a board and fight out the next global conflict. Neff served as a rules advisor and overseer during the simulations, according to a post under his name written on an online forum board called Board Game Geek. Oh, there's another forum board. What is that? Board Game Geek. Oh, here, Blake Neff. What is this? I assist in Professor Lacey's MCWC War Games as a rules advisor overseer, and I was involved in this simulation. I ran the Korean sector, where I think the Allied forces came closest to total defeat. The scenario posited a relatively supercharged North Korea over what exists in reality, and the Allies weakened an already tenuous position, blah, da, 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 da. I think the Marines could only benefit from getting the chance to do even more wargaming. Since War College students will eventually hold senior commands, they should have as many opportunities to face as possible to face real strategic conundrums and consider what the solutions would be. So another message board. And it looks like he was partaking in this message board. So one thing I will say, an anonymous person. So look at what this says right here. Okay. It remains unclear exactly how or why Neff was brought in to help at the War College. It remains unclear, right? So let's take a gander here. Let me take a look at something. Give me one moment. I want to see if I can find what I am looking for real quick. One moment. I had a page here. I've had all kinds of pages. Let me look. I had something up. I want to see if I can find this information on this dude right here. This dude right here. How's everybody doing? Put a thumbs up emoji. Slap a super chat if you have any questions or you want to support the show. Let me know in the comments how you're enjoying the show. If you think this is information that should be talked about, I personally do. Because these are people that are supposed to be, that are receiving money on behalf of American taxpayers. We are also subsidizing Turning Point USA on behalf of them, on behalf of the United States, tax, nonprofit, exempt, all this stuff, right? So I find it concerning that we have somebody in there that is just running with the wind and working against our greatest ally and then for our greatest ally. And then he is also a producer and also involved in the Young Women's Summit, right? The Women's Summit, the ladies' events. What is his involvement? Speaking on that. Well, what does he think? I'm curious on what his thoughts are revolving around these young women, these minority women, these women that maybe want to have children or not. Like, I could only imagine what Blake Neff thinks about some of these women. And I don't know. I guess the rest we could leave up to our imagination. I was looking for something, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I think I deleted all these things that I was looking at. Almost there, I think. It seems like it's like right here. Let me see. Is this it? Maybe not. Well, either way, I think more can be looked at on your own time regarding that. There's a lot more, but let me see here. This is his wiki, his information here, who he is. Blake Neff, this was written July 13th, 2024. July 13th, 2024. When was he fired? I guess it was, when was he fired? Why would it say that he's a news writer? He was fired in 2020, right? So on DreShare, home writer Blake Neff wiki, Blake Neff wiki, Fox News writer. So this was years later. Deepika Verma. Blake Neff, born 92, is an American writer for South Dakota, from South Dakota, United States. He worked as the top writer, Tucker Carlson Tonight Show. Additionally, he employed in Carlson's team, for 4 years. I don't think this is a proper representation of who he is right now, Fox News writer. He was a former reporter of Carlson. Neff posted racist, sexist comments. And so these are his alleged, information about him. It says he's straight, Christian, and white, which I'm not sure if he is any of those. Maybe he's white. He looks pretty pasty. To get him on my thumbnail, it took a lot. I mean, the brightness almost blinded me when I was trying to. So Dartmouth College, what I would like to know, though, is his military disclosure. Let me see. I haven't really looked that deeply into him to know, like, does he have any military background? Why would someone place him? How did he get into that position as a wargaming expert? What makes him a wargaming expert? Some lesser known facts about Blake. While working at the Daily Caller, wrote articles on the German police action on racial profiling. Professor Drexel wrote a research paper about the white G-side, Stanford University, and sexual harassment. Reading books, traveling. He opened his accounts on X or Twitter and LinkedIn. However, deleted his official accounts from there. I wonder why. I'm not saying I know why. I just wonder. On the other hand, he frequently posted on AutoAdmit, that has also known as XOXOHTH, is a message board like 4chan. He had written messages that caused several controversies for him. He gave his comments on the email threads 50% off LASIK eye surgery. He gave his comments on the email threads 50% off LASIK eye surgery. Why would they even put that in here? Moreover, Blake Neff received an internal memo for his professional behavior and message issues from the Fox News executives in the past. Received an internal memo for his, I would say, a lack of professional behavior and message issues. Maybe this is a foreign Asian person writing this. It could be. I don't know. Oh, no. It's Deepika Verma. Post by... Yeah, so this isn't... I don't know if he would want Deepika Verma, the author, writing about him, especially this article, how he would feel. Yeah, I don't see anything about military. We could maybe ask Claude or something. But yeah, there's a lot of information. He's 5 feet 4 inches. 5'4", Blake Neff, 143 pounds. Bro, man, you talk a lot of shit. 28-year-old eyes and hair are dark brown. In one of the posters, Oliver Darcy wrote about Charles. Furthermore, Darcy thought that there is nothing to lose or win condition for Charles. He lost everything in his career. He showed the CNN and gave some interviews to gain popularity over there. Charles can go for an audition for 60 minutes and get work over there. It can help him financially in the future. Blake Neff earned 80 to 90K monthly, being the writer at Fox News Channel. However, the details of his net worth are unavailable, et cetera, et cetera. So, Blake, were you in the military, bro? Like, what's your wargaming expert? Wasn't Andrew Colvett somehow involved in the military, I think? In like these pastures. And we don't know how these people are getting involved, right? I would beg to ask the question: how the hell did Blake Neff, let's ask, was Blake Neff in the military? And how did he get the positioning for war games expert? I find it very curious, man. I really do. There's another post here, just confirming, just in case that wasn't enough for you on the wargaming thing. I think that this needs to be looked into personally. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I am. I'm wrong on occasion. This is another one. Marine Corps removes Neff from roster of wargaming after racist post revealed. Marine Corps War College. So I find it just quite interesting. I don't know what else to put it. How else to put it, right? Why was Blake Neff working with the Marine Corps at their war college? And does that have anything to do at all with how Charlie Kirk died? I'll ask it. Does Blake Neff's history or the people that he involved himself with does it have anything to do with Charlie and his assassination? I'm just asking. Hopefully not. God forbid. I would just assume not, but I think it's worth finding out. No? I don't know. And it also begs the question, what was Charlie doing? Why was he hiring Blake Neff? Look, I understand that people get second chances, they make mistakes, etc. So maybe he was doing maybe he was doing something nice for Tucker and for Blake, and maybe that's what it is, right? And it's fine. I would be willing to do something like that as well if I believe that the person could be of character. But bro, I don't know, man. Now, as soon as Charlie's gone, you just turn into a troll. Troll the trolls. That's where we are, Blake. You're already like, nobody even knew who the hell you were, bro. Nobody knew anything about you. Now, whatever you're doing is working, I guess, because you're being talked about. But is that really what you want? Is it you really want people like out here talking about you like this? I don't know, man. So this was December after Charlie died. Charlie Kirk show breaks silence to address Candace Owens conspiracy theories. So the Charlie Kirk show producer, sorry, my bad. This is AOL.com. I didn't know that was still around. So this is when they break silence. So I think they went for some time. I can't remember. It feels like so much has happened. But the Charlie Kirk show, this is what it says right here. The Charlie Kirk show producer Blake Neff lambasted podcaster Candace Owens Wednesday for claiming that Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was betrayed by high-ranking members of the conservative student group. What? Is it a student group? Turning Point USA? Saying TPUSA would deliver a detailed response to her claims via a live stream, which they never did. Nothing like they were going to have her on and they decided not to, I guess, because I don't know. That was strange. Listen, let's go back and think about that live stream they're supposed to do with Candace. They said, oh, well, we're going to have a live stream. Oh, they posted it at like in the morning at 2 a.m. or midnight or something like that. You have 24 hours to respond, and it has to be at this date and time, and it's going to be at somebody, I think it was her husband's birthday or something like that. It was like made in a way that she couldn't show up, but that she had to show up in person. What honest, trustworthy, open to transparency organization would allow their team to go out and do something like that? After their founder died, his friend searching for the truth, you won't even do a live stream over the internet with that person. And it begs the question, why did you want her in person so badly? Or did you just know that she wasn't going to be able to show up anyways? All right. If we just look back at the way Turning Point USA has held their hand and how they played their chips. It looks like they're trying to destroy this company, Turning Point USA. It looks that way to me. Trolling the trolls with, I mean, that's just the newest thing, really. All the other stuff, I mean, it's someone built a freaking website to show all the oddities amongst Turning Point USA, amongst the everything, all the people and the strangeness and the research that's gone in. And you're going to tell me that you found the assassination, the person who killed Charlie within 33 hours, which just isn't true. This is not true, objectively not true, but you're going to spin the story anyways. And then anybody who asks questions, you're going to slander, you're going to attack, you're going to send bots after, you're going to lie, you're going to get caught lying. You're not going to, like Candace said it perfectly yesterday, it looks like you're littering all over Charlie Kirk's life. That's what it looks like. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's Blake. There's more, but I don't want to spend this whole show talking about Blake. But I think it's concerning. And if there's no history of Blake actually having military background, let me see. No, he was not in the military. He was never officially an employee. Gains to understand why he was only paid as a contractor for $14,000. He was a civilian contractor, an honorarium paid outside advisor, not enlisted, not a service member, not staff. What the role actually was, Neff had been a wargaming subject matter expert for the Marine Corps War College since October of 2016 and had taken part in wargaming exercises with Marines more than a dozen times. The same month, he joined Tucker at Fox. I don't know if this is normal or common, but it does say that colonels and lieutenant colonels are typically the ones that serve as a rules advisor and overseer during simulations. His role was simply to support wargaming. He did not teach or instruct. And then he was immediately removed from the list of experts the same week from Fox. So what? If it's typically current, you know what like a colonel, right? Here, do this. I'm going to make a list. I'm just going to have Claude make it. Make a list showing ranking of top to bottom. Let's see. Let's see if it'll make it. I don't know the ranking. My stepdad is retired E9. It's top of infantry. Let's see. It looks like it's making it right here. Okay, here we go. Boom. Right here. So it says top general of the Army, 0 to 10 wartime. General, lieutenant general, major general, brigadier general, and then colonel, lieutenant colonel, major, captain, first lieutenant, second lieutenant, and then where colonel stands, the piece that matters where for your script, for the live stream, it's trying to keep me safe. When task and purpose says Neff facilitated war games with colonels and lieutenant colonels, those are 0 to 6 and 0 to 5 officers, 05, 06. So you would become an officer when you retire from the, or when you get your education, your bachelor's degree, I believe, and you're an enlisted. So it's enlisted or officer. And then you're, if you're enlisted, you don't have a degree. And then, like I just said, captain, current, whatever. Yeah. Officer, enlisted. So it says, so the accurate framing is that a civilian political scriptwriter with no service record was in the room as a rules referee for senior commanders wargaming great power conflicts. That's the weight of who was at the table, and that's why the who hired him and why won't they say question has teeth. So yeah, typically the top of the field grade, above the company grade men, above captain, above major, above lieutenant colonel and colonel. These are the ones. Pretty high ranking. How did you get that position, bro? I don't know. I find it interesting for sure. Master Sergeant. I'm going to read a couple super chats and then we're going to dive into Candace Owens, I think. Yeah, I think so. I don't mind doing a couple. What's up, Philippe? Thank you. Oh, wow. 10 gifted memberships. Say thank you if you got them. Big baller. Thank you, bro. Jessica says $10. Danks, please show us the Black Line Brief 13216. It's so disgusting. It shows us Erika's true character. Promise it's a real insight. I will save it. I appreciate it, but I'm not going to deviate from the show to talk about Erika right now. But I appreciate the super chat, and I will take a look. Thank you for that. Careless Carl the 12th, Charles 12th, like the Ottomans, and was very kind to Jews in Sweden. It said he had a lot of broke Blake Mountain on the Tower of Power. All right, we'll do one more. Philippe, thanks. Janie Bakes. Yeah, I saw yesterday. Blake broke Blake Mountain or something. Janie, what's up, Janie? I think Blake Neff is a bottom-feeding, disloyal, women-hating, creepy, money-grubbing, racist, closeted mama's boy. The unhealthy kind. Wow. In my honest opinion. Wow. Well said. All right, last one. We love the show and you. Hey, Critter. Love Club Vatra. Everyone is amazing there. Thank you, Kristen. You're awesome. I appreciate it. Welcome to Christy. Welcome to Elena for 3 months. Pleasure to have you. All right. So now we are going to go into the next segment of the show. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. So Candace, I'm going to show the clip of Candace. Let me just, I didn't see if everyone saw, I didn't see when I asked everybody, do you guys want me to show you the clips? But I guess I'll show them. Here, let me see. Yeah. Blake, bro, I got to tell you, man. Actually, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I just, you should know, right? But your timeline, just like a lot of other people's around Charlie Kirk, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me why you got wargaming expertise with the Marine Corps. It doesn't make sense that you worked with Tucker Carlson and then got fired, and then you went to Stu Peters, and then you worked at Turning Point USA at the same time, and then you left. And then you're working at Turning Point USA. You're quiet, and Charlie goes silent, dead, and then you let the troll out. So the troll was tucked tightly in its box, and the troll came out when Charlie died. Why? Do you just feel comfortable being that version of yourself when Charlie's dead? Or behind a pseudonym? Or what exactly? Because to me, it just kind of looked like a freaking pussy. 5'4", 143 pounds, women-hating, racist pussy. That's what it sounds like. That's what you are. That's what I think you are. And maybe your height and size and everything has something to do with it. I don't know. You know, disgusting, bro. You are disgusting. All right, let's go over. I think that the donors, they need to know who you are. And yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. All right, so let's see what we got next. Candace Owens, she basically asked for a FOIA request on Kash Patel's timeline. What was he doing on the September 10th to the September 7th to the 10th? And basically, she wants to know, like, where were you at? What were you doing? What flights were you on? What flights were you taking? Like, we're paying for this. She also said she doesn't want any particular personal information or anything about your private timeline. All we want to know is, where were you during the time that Charlie was being planned to be assassinated? That's it. I think it's a very reasonable request. So I guess we could just play it from here. Let's see.
All right, you guys, I am FOIAing around and I am not finding out, my friends. Like, I am not finding out at all. Who knew that this tool would be so difficult to get answers? They can just say, we don't want to tell you. That's what it feels like, at least. So,
I mean, you can get answers pretty efficiently from FOIA.
I requested Kash Patel's schedule, a travel schedule, in the lead up to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Just another thread that I'm pulling at. I don't know, because journalism, but also because there was this FBI plane, definitively an FBI plane, that landed into Salt Lake City, Utah on September 8th. So, Charlie, remember, he first went to Salt Lake City on the morning of the 10th, which I found to be very unusual, that he would go there and do that weird restaurant interview, whatever it was, as his final interview. Well, there was an FBI plane that went to Salt Lake City, Utah on September 8th. And it's just interesting. That's all. Could be nothing. But it leaves Richmond, Virginia at 9:50 a.m. It gets into Salt Lake at 12 p.m. And then it departs Salt Lake just an hour later. Really quick trip. Doesn't mean.
Well, first we'd have to determine what those flights are, right? Like, is that a common flight path? Who takes the FBI plane consistently? And I think that's what the FOIA request was for, is let's find out more about who, what, when, where, why, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's a completely reasonable question to raise, especially on the American taxpayer's dime.
Kash Patel was on the flight, but, just doing a bit of journalism, ruling things out, asking questions. So here's what we requested, and we had to fill out a form, which had to then be submitted. So we're just copying and pasting to you what we wrote because, like I said, it's a form submission. We wrote pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act.
I'm not going to go through all that. You guys have probably heard this at least 3 times in the last 24 hours. But yeah, she basically says, I don't want any personal information. I just want whatever information pertains to those dates and his scheduling, right? All it says, the request includes, but is not limited to, calendars, schedule entries, travel authorizations or itineraries, the transportation or flight records of official government travel, expense vouchers and reimbursement records, meeting logs, visitor logs associated with official events, and emails or memoranda scheduling or coordinating official travel appearances. And to minimize burden, she even goes as far to say, I don't want anything security, anything that is important to national security, personal, private timelines or information. I don't want any of that. All I want through this FOIA request is what we are paying for on those dates. That's what she asked for. So their response was this.
Around and find out. Unfortunately, here's what we received back. Please be advised that unusual circumstances apply to the processing of your request.
What? Unusual circumstances. So the unusual circumstances applied to the processing of request includes one or more of the following scenarios. So apparently they are saying that to collect records of field offices or other offices separate from the FBI, there's a need to search for, collect, and examine amounts of information, separate and distinct records, a need to consult with another agency or 2 or more from the DOJ. And these unusual circumstances will delay our ability to make a determination on your request, just to get a determination on the request, not even to get the information from the request. Additionally, the payment of pertinent fees may apply to your request. The application is not a determination of how the FBI will respond. All they can do is say, within 20 days, you will know if we can give you the information that you are requesting. That's pretty much what it says.
I'm supposed to get back to us within 20 days. Well, it involves somebody else, so we now have to talk to somebody. Now, for some reason, just me saying that I requested Kash Patel's records, which again is my right as a tax-paying citizen of the United States of America, for some reason, this deeply upset Blake Neff. I just want to weigh his reaction to me.
Oh, Blake Neff. Funny that he comes along.
Merely filing an FOIA request. And I want you to compare it to what you just heard from Charlie when things don't add up. Here's Blake Neff, the new representative of the Charlie Kirk show. Charlie Kirk show. Really? Here's what Blake Neff wrote, crashing out. Here we can see the latest thing that Candace will fixate on for the next 2 weeks as all important, the key to blowing the case wide open so that she has an excuse to harass more people. Of course, when she gets bored or successfully extracts whatever thing she is looking for, which of course will be a total nothing burger, she'll move on to dismiss.
So I don't want to, whatever it is. So what I wanted to show is what I think, it might be best to just show Daily Fredo, because she does a great job in the very beginning of this video. I liked it. I liked the way that she approached this video. So let's just shout out Daily Fredo, and let's just show what she says, and then I'll show the post, etc. But it's very interesting to get a someone who has a foreign background, or I don't know what her. I guess she's a citizen American. I'm not sure. I've talked to her once in an email, but she does great work, and so she comes from Poland. That she said in this video, I believe. So to get her perspective is quite interesting about how the FBI has been approaching this situation. And when I say how the FBI is approaching the situation, I mean, well, look at what they're doing here. She showed, look, I showed you the video of where she showed everything. Okay. Please show us the document sent to you. So they didn't watch the episode or anything. They literally used emojis and da 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 da. Your show, just like the fake news media, will be called out when you lie. Hope this helps. So she literally showed this, and they're saying you are lying. You didn't show, right? And she's also questioning, how is this even legal when formally requesting an itinerary for 3 days leading up to an assassination, and we're told the burden of the request is too great? How is this illegal? How is this even legal? Lionel chimes in. This burden objection makes little sense, goes on, right? So the worst part, though, is the FBI response team. I think this is one of the worst parts. This is an official badge. The account is verified because it's an affiliate of FBI. All right. So it is an official FBI account since November of last year. Interesting timing, 2 months after Charlie was killed, but I doubt that has anything to do with it. But I will say, before we show you what they said, they tweet a lot. I'm going to spare you the dizziness. They got involved with me. I somehow got pulled into them and Laura Loomer. And if you don't know, I'm going to show you. So the FBI response team has been spending time dealing with other things that, to me, don't seem like a matter of national security or level of importance, especially when involving good old American me. I think I got it right here. It is right here. Give me 1 second. This is, yeah, right here. Okay. So Laura Loomer, good old Larry, posted breaking. The FBI says they are looking into claims made with Elizabeth Lane. So she reposted that. So while we were live, I don't know if it was while we were live. What time was this? 1:05 p.m. It could have been while me and Bays were live with Elizabeth Lane. Gary Paramount Tactical tags Elizabeth Lane just admitted to major federal crimes, which doesn't sound like she did, but I don't know. Could be wrong. But this dude literally tagged the FBI director, FBI, Dan Bongino, like in June after he left. And so does this mean that Bongino still works for the FBI? I don't know. Like, why would you tag him along with the rest of the FBI? I'm Elizabeth Lane, a Georgian immigrant who is a pro-Russian, pro-Putin, anti-American propagandist, admitted on a recent podcast, blah, 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 blah. This is his ChatGPT version of it. And then the FBI response team said, we are looking into this. What? You're going to look into this? Well, you're not going to look into the murder of Charlie Kirk? Oh, let me guess. You figured it all out already, right? You figured it all out already. So I have experience with these trolls because this is indeed trolling. I know that they're not looking into this. It would be a waste of time. unless maybe they are. I don't know. I could be wrong. But just to give you the idea of what their involvement of what they're doing, they're getting tagged by content creators who have producers who are involved in other things, allegedly. I'm just going to say other things. And they are now tagging CIA, FBI. This isn't the only one regarding content creators and like a little online dispute that they started. So the feds are on X getting involved in content creator drama. That's what your tax dollars are getting involved in. And now, involuntarily, they respond to Candace Owens while she's live, just making shit up. That's what we're dealing with here. Your tax dollar being wasted for trolls.
An American three-letter agency is coming after Candace Owens on X. Yes, that three-letter agency that's supposed to be a serious entity solving those most complicated cases, going after real criminals, working for the people.
Exactly.
They got busy tweeting at Candace Owens yesterday. You cannot make those things up. I think I'm too Eastern European for this. I'm too post-communist Polish for this. This is beyond embarrassing and telling. Let me explain. And to understand exactly what happened, as usual, we need to start at the beginning. So Candace tweeted via FOIA. Some people read it as FOIA. I like that. I think I'm going to say FOIA. Via FOIA, we formally requested Kash Patel's travel itinerary for the 3 days leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination. And we just heard back and we're told the burden of the request is too great. The burden of the request is too great. How is this even remotely legal? She's asking. For my non-American viewers, FOIA stands for the Freedom of Information Act. It's a U.S. federal law that allows the public to request records from federal government agencies. The idea is that government records belong to the public unless there's a valid reason to withhold them. National security, privacy, ongoing investigations, etc. Here is what Candace had to say about it on her show.
So I requested Kash Patel's.
So the beginning part is really what I wanted to capture, but also like think about from other perspectives, right? Foreign countries, like people that live here that are involved in this country, they're paying tax dollars. How do you think this looks? It is terrible, right? And so I asked, is the request of Candace Owens to FBI Kash Patel reasonable and completely legal? Yes on both. And it says, is it legal? Unambiguously, which means it is not confusing. It is unambiguous. It is clear. The Freedom of Information Act is a federal statute that gives any person the right to request records from federal executive branch agencies. The FBI is a covered agency. You do not need standing, a reason, press credentials, or anything else. A private citizen requesting an agency official schedule and travel records is the textbook core use of that statute. The FBI itself confirmed the request was valid by processing it and issuing a formal FOIPA response with a request number. They didn't reject it as improper. They invoked a delay provision. That alone tells you it was a legitimate request because you cannot get unusual circumstances processing on a request that wasn't proper to begin with. Is it reasonable? Yes. And she actually drafted it more carefully than most people would. 3 things make it reasonable rather than a fishing expedition. It's narrow in time, 4 days, September 7th through the 10th of 2025. Not all of Kash Patel's records, just a defined window. It's narrow in scope and self-limiting. She explicitly carved out the sensitive material. In the request, she wrote that to minimize burden, she was not requesting classified information, protective methodologies, et cetera, and she pre-excluded the exact categories an agency would normally fight over. It targets official taxpayer-funded activity. An FBI's director official schedule, government travel authorizations, and travel reimbursements are official records of a public office paid for with public money. So We pay him to fly around, so we have a right to act. I'm trying to use my hotkeys to ask what's going on and where he went on official business, and that is the foundational logic of FOIA. Now, because where the FBI might see is like legal and reasonable does not necessarily mean, it just says here that that the FBI is obligated to hand over everything fast or in full. FOIA has 9 statutory exemptions, things like ongoing law enforcement investigations records, which is an exemption. You've got certain personnel and protective details that can be lawfully withheld or rejected. The unusual circumstances clause, to me, looks like it's a provision that they are going to use to either extend the delay, which is what this clause says, but I also believe that they will use, like they put it in there specifically because they don't want to give the full information. That's what I believe. Right? So the delay itself really is not the automatic proof of the cover up or anything involving with that, obviously. But I would say that it is a tool that they're using to legitimately walk this slowly or incompletely. So the request is legal, completely reasonable. It was built specifically for this purpose, or at least one of these purposes was for this, for why the Freedom of Information Act was released. And the trolling, the actions of the FBI response team are tasteless, are tactless, are just tacky, right? Candace characterized the response on her show as effectively being told no, is what they're kind of saying, but I don't think that is what she was saying at all. I didn't get that at all. I received the information from her as, oh, we are going to have to wait 20 days to get more information. The request of the burden is too great. Maybe that means that they are going to lead in a direction where they're not going to give any information. Maybe not. I don't know. Because of these unusual circumstances, but I don't see what's unusual about it. The only thing I could say is that maybe they will decline to give information because of the fact that it's still an ongoing court trial. Maybe, I mean, the investigation's closed, right? The Tyler Robinson investigation is closed. Now it's up to the court to decide if he's guilty or not. That's what we're in the middle of watching. So there is no more investigation into the murder of Charlie Kirk. The only thing that there is left is Tyler Robinson going to get how much time if he's found guilty or not? That's what we're still looking at now. And so I don't know why they wouldn't just release that information, at least to her. I mean, she's going to make it public, most likely. So I could see that. But there was also something very interesting that Candace found out about, which I'm going to go to right here. Let me pull up So she talked yesterday. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I will because I think it's interesting. She was looking into PETN, I think it is called, and the mysterious involvement of exploding microphone theory, possibly, and pagers, right? The pagers involved in the braggadocious experience that happened with pagers, and then Trump being gifted a golden pager. And so she started tying these connections together to say, well, interesting, like how does a PETN or PENT explosive work? Well, it happens to be, she showed a video clip. I'm looking for it right now. Here it is. Check this out. So she's starting to entertain the fact that it might be a exploding mic theory. I'm not going to play the clip of her watching the CNN. You can go and watch that if you want on her channel. But I'm at 16:55. Right before it, she explains what PETN is. Maybe we could. Let's start back here. on, YouTube. Let's get with it. I need to refresh. Maybe we
Something
need to
that
refresh.
Charlie Kirk expressed off before scene terror attack is executed with precision, which involves PETN explosives. On September 17th and on September 18th of 2024, there was a massive series of pager explosions across Lebanon and Syria, wounding more than 3,000 people and killing 12 people, including 2 children. I'm going to allow you to listen to these survivor stories of people who were not the intended targets. Take a listen.
On a normal day in September 2024, Hussein Taini was playing at home in southern Lebanon when an unfamiliar noise rang out from his dad's pager.
Oh my goodness, look at this poor kid. How did I miss this? Was that on my phone or something when she was making this video? Live stream? I hope that this kid didn't get involved. He's a survivor. Yeah, it looks like that's what it was. I missed this. Brought close to my eyes, saw an error. So here, I'm going to read this as he's talking. So on a normal day in 2024, September, Hussein Daini, playing at home in southern Lebanon, heard an unfamiliar noise on his dad's pager. This was a strange ring, so I picked it up and brought it close to my eyes and saw an error message with an arrow pointing to the OK button. When I pressed the OK button, it exploded.
Jafal had no time to respond after picking up a family member's pager. She has undergone 45 surgeries in 9 months, with additional procedures to come.
This is somebody else that had that experience.
Including reconstructive surgery on her face and fingers. She has lost 4 fingers in the attack, 2 of which are now fused together, and is waiting to receive a prosthetic right eye. While Hezbollah has admitted that most of the dead and wounded were its fighters or staff, the explosions also seriously injured many civilians.
Okay. So you should know that the pagers were rigged, as I told you, with PETN explosive. The intended target were Hezbollah operatives. But what I want to draw your attention to is just the trajectory of their injuries, right? So these people, they heard the pager go off, whether it was their dad's pager or their uncle's pager. They went to go grab the pager. They held it in their hands. And to get it to go off, you had to hit the OK button. Hit the OK button, and it subsequently exploded. This is why it took off their fingers. In one case, it took off a person's nose because it means its trajectory is going from here to here. In many cases, it took out their eye because they were looking at it. Okay. PETN, exploding, shrapnel. And of course, because of the shrapnel, they have cuts all over their faces. So we know who did this, obviously, because they were very proud that they did this. It was Israel. How did they do it? Well, they interrupted the supply chain of pagers by creating a bunch of fake shell companies and selling the rigged pagers to people who were affiliated with Hezbollah.
So I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and we were talking about these devices. And we were saying, well, if they're able to do that, what leads us to believe that they aren't able to do that in these microphones or these other lapel mics, the Rode mics, the DJI mics? You know, when you buy stuff on Amazon, a lot of times you might buy your microphones on Amazon, but you're buying them not directly from Shure or Rode, you're buying from a third party. I would, even then, like, even if you were buying from Shure, how do we not, like, the only way I would be comfortable is 100% buying from the Shure website, right? Maybe from the Shure Amazon official store. But when I say Shure, I just mean like the microphone. You see how it says Shure on here? We have to realize, like, if they really could do that with the pagers. If you don't know the pager story, you should definitely learn about it. But they could do that to imagine if they did it on a day where there's a lot of news, something happens. Like, imagine a mass situation like 9/11. Today, now, we didn't have all of this technology for podcasters and stuff back then. But imagine today, now, all of these podcasters are out. They're out on the ground. They're out recording. People are doing live streams. What if they said, what if that happened to everybody at the same time somehow, because this proves that this is possible. And the crazier part is how this works. So, and how little of it you actually need. This actually wasn't too long of a clip. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
Admittedly, by the way, kind of genius. The thought of how they infiltrated was, well, pagers are a very dated technology, and there are only so many people who are mass buying pagers, right? Not many people are bulk purchasing them, so to speak. But the exact details of where they interrupted the supply chain, how they manufactured these pagers, how they amassed the PE10, or where they amassed the PETN explosive from, where that assembly took place of the rig tech, all that information remains unknown. What is known is how proud the Mossad was and is of their ability to infiltrate specifically companies and organizations.
So what she's saying, and how, because I looked into this before all of this Charlie stuff, I think I've seen and watched content. And so I did my own deep dive. This is a while ago, so I don't remember exactly how. But what they did was they were able to create shell companies around the manufacturing and disperse just the manufacturing, the companies that are basically selling these pagers, and shell company after shell company, they're able to actually manufacture and confuse the supply chain, and then sneak in these exploding pagers into the supply chain. And my concern as an American is, one, was that what happened to Charlie Kirk? Because what you're going to see here is very interesting. But first, let me go ahead and play more of this. But it is concerning.
And I'm just going to let you listen to one of the Mossad agents applauding their abilities to do just that.
And by the way, she's tying this into, not tying necessarily, but this was a great episode. I highly encourage you to go watch after this Candace's show from yesterday, or she's got a show today probably. So after, you got to watch it. And you might want to watch it before she goes live today, because it looks like she's piling onto something.
That's following the pager attack of how they did it. Take a listen.
We have an incredible array of possibilities.
Now, this is 60 minutes, okay? And they have somebody completely faceless here, covered up, voice changer. I don't know if she did any of the voice changing or not, maybe for copyright, but listen to what this person says. I'll put on captions as well.
Of creating foreign companies that have no way being traced back to Israel, shell companies over shell companies who affect the supply chain to our favor. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors.
Please smash the like button if you haven't already. Smash the subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn on the little notification bell if you like this content, you want to see when I go live, when I release my videos. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you.
Producers, we're the main actors. The world is our stage.
So the company in Taiwan, Gold Apollo, did they know that they were working with people from Mossad?
Gold Apollo had zero clue that they are working with the Mossad.
And neither did Hezbollah.
So the company that were involved with the pagers selling had no idea that they were working with an intelligence agency that was interrupting their supply chain. No idea.
When they are buying from us, they have zero clue that they are buying from the Mossad. We make like Truman Show. Everything is controlled by us behind the scene. In their experience, everything is normal. Everything was 100% kosher, including businessmen, marketing, engineers, showroom.
They go through all of that. Businessmen that are propped up as the most odd individuals. Marketing, most odd. Engineers, most odd. A showroom built by the most odd individuals.
Everything.
It's just amazing. We create a Truman Show. We are the directors, the actors, the performers. Everything in your life will be fake, and we will be pressing play. It's just incredible that when I say it, it sounds like an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. When they say it, it's just like, we're taking credit for what we do. We're the best at this and we're sophisticated. And we'd like to tell you here on 60 Minutes. Anyway, I want to also show you a graphic which demonstrates exactly how they were able to rig the pagers with the explosive. This graphic was provided by Reuters, who estimated that they used just 6 grams of PETN explosive to accomplish this far-reaching attack. Just
6 grams of powder is like 6 small teaspoons of powder, depending on the weight. Actually, maybe it could be less, depending on how heavy the powder is.
6 grams put inside of a functional pager. That's important too, because they actually had to make sure that they didn't put enough as to render the pager ineffective. They had to just put enough that it would explode. Here you go. On that left-hand side, you can see where it's pointing to the detonation material, tiny.
So it goes into here, detonation material, and the PETN explosive is here. So it's a thin layer that goes into the pack, the battery cell pack, and they slide it in. And so I had one of those yesterday, but so this office I was cleaning out because we were putting the nursery in here, but I was going to move offices and I haven't moved yet. And I had I don't want to go look for it, but like a battery for example, for my little microphone, like this is like one of my vape. It's like this big, right? They're about a little bit bigger, a little more boxy, but they're about this big, that thick, right? And so they were already doing, this has been a long time that they could do stuff like this.
Tiny. You got the battery cell and the detonation material right there on the bottom, the PETN explosive. It's a very, very thin amount. It's incredible, 6 grams. Why am I telling you that now? Assuming that Reuters is accurate, we can then reasonably assert that 6 grams of PETN is not enough to confidently kill someone, right? They only killed 12 out of 3,000 people. You can also confidently assess that they would have to use more if they wanted to guarantee more fatalities, right? I mean, in that regard, I would say the operation was kind of a failure because it demonstrated without question their precision, and it was psychologically damaging, no doubt. But in terms of real world consequences, you don't want to just take off the fingers of your enemies. That's only going to strengthen their resolve against you while they are still very much alive. Anyway, it got me wondering, if 6 grams could take out fingers and eyes, how much PETN explosive would you need to guarantee a fatality? What would that look like? What would the size of that injury look like on a person? And so I decided to research and see if there were maybe some random YouTube channels that were dedicated to demonstrating doubling that amount, maybe tripling that amount, and seeing what would happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not kidding you when I say that this was the very first video that I stumbled across on YouTube, just typing in PETN explosive. And it was just guys that were using 20 grams of PETN explosive within a tiny capsule. And they were using it against bulletproof glass to see what would happen. And I want you to pay very close attention to what this person says, because I could not believe my ears. I was freaking out. Take a listen.
20 gram booster PETN charge. We're going to use it against the transaction window to see what the results are.
So they're setting up a pack, and they put the pack on the, you can see how they did it, right? So they rigged the pack onto the glass, and then the glass shot. It like exploded, and it's wired, right? So you'd have a wired pack, and then it explodes. And look at the hole that it made.
This is the first one that went the way that I expected it to go. Yeah. I didn't expect a half pounder to make like a laser beam through the guy's head. It's about the same as a gunshot. This is NIJ4 rated glass, from a 30-06, and it's about the same foot diameter.
It's about the same.
And this test was done, yep, exactly, was done long before, and she says that, before UVU.
As a gunshot from a 30-06. If you shot it against that bulletproof, you heard him correctly. I promise you. That was the first one I hit. He decided, and same results as a 30-06.
Bro, how insane is that? How insane is that? So Candace covered a lot on her end there, and I don't want to keep playing her video, but part I want to add that she maybe didn't get to is that, because there is a way to look at this whole Charlie Kirk situation that doesn't require anyone to tell who did it, how, or why. You know what I mean? I don't need to do that, though. What I need you to look at is what is sitting in the open and ask yourself whether it's holding together, because what they're telling us isn't. And I guess I'm a conspiracy theorist to see that, right? And I guess I'm anti-Semitic and all the other stuff too to go along with that. Is if I don't believe in Charlie Kirk, the way that the FBI net Fed slop narrative is being given to us, if I don't accept that, I'm not American. I'm a conspiracy theorist and I'm an anti-Semitic. So I guess that's what I am. But a man was assassinated in broad daylight at a public event with security detail present. And 9 months later, the public posture from the people closest to him is that asking questions is a problem. Think about how strange that is. Think about how freaking strange that is. When someone you loved is killed, the instinct is to want every rock turned over. You want to make noise. You want to pressure. You want the people responsible actually found. The instinct is not to go on television and tell the audience that the people asking how it happened, when, how it happened, why, and who is behind it are the bad guys. That's what they're doing. That reaction is ass backwards. And when a reaction is ass backwards, that is proof of, to me, sorry, it is not proof of anything. But to me, it is at least proof of questioning what is going on. How about that? It is proof of asking why. Okay? So no one has been fired. No, and in fact, I think some people have been promoted, security especially. Maybe someone left or not, it's unclear. But no one has, been fired. The security apparatus that was in place then, the day of, is today. And as far as anyone else can tell, they're still employed, and at least one figure was reportedly offered a raise. In what version of a catastrophic security failure does the response include a raise? Same thing, didn't that same thing happen with Butler? Except the CIA director, she left or something like that, resigned. If your job is to keep a man alive and that man was killed on your watch, I mean, the floor is that you lose your job. That is the floor. And we have not even hit nobody's even issued the floor out. And the absence of consequences is itself information, I would say. It tells you that the people in charge do not regard this as a failure that requires accountability, in my opinion, allegedly. Which means either they think nothing went wrong, which is absurd, or the accountability is being actively avoided, which is a question in place and also absurd. Now, layer in the timeline pieces that are on the record. Charlie himself, before he died, looked at the Butler situation and said out loud that when a story that has this many failures stacked on top of each other, when the roof is unattended, actually, I'll play it. When the roof is unattended, when things do not make sense, when all of this strangeness is happening, where did it go? I thought I had it. What? Oh, here. Let's go back to the beginning because she actually shows here. Charlie himself questioned the same situation, but from Butler.
And it has since done a complete and mysterious 180. They don't want us asking any questions specifically about Charlie's assassination. They say, or they're trying to present as though it's a sign of true friendship to stay mum, to not prod the positively absurd narrative. And that's actually pretty ironic because Charlie was a friend to President Trump. They let us know every minute of every day. And do you know what he thought? Do you want to know something that he formally rejected? The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt narrative, if you will. He did not buy it for 1 second. So credit to ex-user Crystal Smolland for digging up this gem of Charlie unpacking why he didn't accept the narrative. Take a listen.
The more we learn about Trump getting shot in the assassination attempt, the less it makes sense. This is one of the largest scandals in American history. Probably even the same as JFK. By the way, if it wasn't for divine providence, Donald Trump would be dead right now. 2 bullets went right by him, one of which hit him, and he got shot. We now know that the shooter was identified by Secret Service 3 hours beforehand, that there was a roof, unattended, 120 yards away from Trump. In broad daylight, the shooter brought out a ladder from
120 yards away, almost identical to his own assassination. Barron covered this last night. But he is questioning the same story that happened to him. Talk about irony. Unfortunate irony. Okay?
his car that he bought at Home Depot, climbed the ladder with a rifle, set himself up. People saw him, Trump supporters. Police did nothing. Secret Service did nothing. He was able to set up a shot unobstructed of the president.
I remember.
How is this possible?
I remember that time. They were like talking about, I remember watching videos of like the snipers being talking. I don't know what it was, if they were confirming or what the situation was. I don't know if the snipers were being interviewed or whatnot, but there was information that came out that said they didn't have the authority to pull the trigger on this person, if I remember correctly. And so they already had the snipers scoped out on Thomas Crooks, allegedly. And they allowed him to take multiple shots before ultimately ending his life, right? So very interesting that Charlie is asking these questions about an unattended roof and the failed detail that did not get him to safety himself. That is me noting that his own standard applied to his own death. You know, here, I'll play a little bit more because he raises more concerns.
Well, exactly. Was this malevolence? Was this just incompetence? This involved potentially dozens of people that were in law enforcement. Oh, and even one more. Local law enforcement climbed up the ladder and the guy pointed a gun at him and he just walked away. Why wasn't there a call to take Trump off stage? Oh, we have a commotion. Take Trump off stage.
They had Thomas Crooks scoped. They knew he was there. They knew he was there. They said that he had a yard, like how many meters or whatever, like a meter scope. That's what they thought he had before. If you haven't liked and subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. We have almost 1,000 people watching on YouTube. I'd love it if you subscribed, and also on Rumble as well. I'm trying to grow my Rumble channel. There's 21 people watching. I appreciate it. That would be great if you did. It'd help me out a lot. But yeah, he's saying multiple people involved. He's saying that how crazy, like all of this stuff going on, and you guys are not going to, you know, look any further into it, and how crazy it is that Trump isn't going to ask any more questions. What does that mean? What does that mean? And then, because it requires what? A little bit of thinking outside of the box that could be alleged as conspiracy theories. So we just have to believe anything that the FBI tells us, anything that the government tells. So we are required to believe only that. And if not, we get attacked. We get attacked by not only Fed sloppers, but content creators, and people are paid to attack people like Candace and Barron and me and whoever else. Now, all of a sudden, since Lisa Knows got told about me through Paramount Tactical, now all of a sudden I got attacked. I never really got much attacks until Lisa Knows started talking about me. I invited her on the show. She doesn't want to come on the show. So are there people that are working in this field undercover that are assigning like digital hit squads to go and attack content creators that don't listen to the Fed slop narratives? That's an honest question, because I'm telling you, before Lisa Knows started talking about who I was and commenting on who I was, making dumb videos, as she usually does. I've heard. I've never watched one, but as she does, I've heard. All of a sudden, I get attacks on my posts. It's very strange. As soon as Paramount Tactical and Jen, the producer, and Lisa Knows started mentioning anything about me, was the very first time I ever got attacks on my post, ever. I used to get them in my email occasionally, but never on X. I am curious. Are Jen, the producer, Lisa Knows, Paramount Tactical, are they working as assets for the feds? Why are you, Paramount Tactical, tagging the feds? Because where I come from, we don't fuck with the feds. And that's not me being hard or anything. I had a very terrible, rough life. But we don't fuck with the feds, bro. So it begs the question, people that do, why and at what length? I don't know. It's mockery. It's mockery that the FBI response team is on X trolling people. That's your money, your tax dollars. And what's worse is those accounts get paid. If they have a premium plus subscription on X, they get paid for those millions of views that go viral on X. So not only are we paying them, they get paid to troll us on X. Did you know that? Did you even think of that? Bet you didn't. So, I mean, look, I'm happy to ask all the questions, you know. But I find it very strange that, you know, these people start talking about me and next thing you know, my account getting attacked on X when I make posts when I never did before. I don't know. So I can't stand here and tell you or sit here and tell you that I know what's going on because I don't. And anyone who does, especially the feds, based off of the evidence that has been seen by everybody on this planet, I can't trust it because it doesn't look real. It doesn't look like anything true or real or authentic. So anyone telling you that they know for certain is selling you something, okay? It's selling you something. When they go on whatever news channel, when Megyn Kelly says, I want to be in the room and watch them flip the switch when he dies, they're selling you something because it's innocent until proven guilty. We got him. We got him. The guy who did this, like it's all a show. What other case have they done that? None. They don't presume him guilty. Even during the Diddy case, nobody was certain what to say. Go look at all the news. They weren't saying Diddy for sure did this and Diddy for sure did that. Or when any of these assassinations or anything, they're still arguing about the Metcalf, Austin Metcalf or whatever. You know, it's like, so how is it that this one assassination of Charlie Kirk is so 100% certain that that Tyler Robinson did this? How? You when somebody, like what I'm telling you is that the official story is being defended by people whose behavior does not match the story and also does not match human emotion and human reality. You do not threaten or mock and stonewall over a case that is closed and clean. You do not what are you throwing over a case that has soft spots? No. So every time they tell you to stop asking, they are telling you the questions are landing somewhere that hit. If they mock you, if they talk shit about you, if they, you know, Tyler Robinson is charged, but he's not convicted. And that actually matters. It is one of the most important matters, actually. And you have to hold that line. I do. Now, I just can't believe that Tyler Robinson is the only one that did this. Not when we have reporting that on the radio scanners that we have heard, I have heard, Barron has shown, it's on Jimmy Dore has heard, we've all heard that somebody else was there with tactical gear, following, looking for Charlie Kirk, looking for his hospital, black all gear. You know, somebody else had video footage of someone else on a roof. Again, Tyler Robinson is charged, but he's not convicted. And they've just closed the case. And the worst part about all of this is if they let Tyler Robinson go, or if he's not proven guilty and he's proven innocent, what happens to the actual assassin? I think it's like, I could be wrong. I believe it's like 75% of cases or more that don't get solved the first time never get solved. Which means if Tyler Robinson isn't even the person and they still find him guilty, either way, somebody that killed Charlie Kirk or a group of people is still out there, possibly. But the conduct of people around all of this, the silence, and then the attacks when questions are raised, the raises of people that were involved, the trolling, the hostility to a simple records request, none of that is the behavior of people that have nothing to hide. It is the opposite. It is the behavior of people, entity, and things, and places, and organizations, and in general, commentators, whatever, of things that are being paid to or allegedly are actually hiding something and are trying to skew or make you look crazy around the narrative, skew the narrative, make you look crazy, inject falsehoods. And that is the part that I just don't, that doesn't sit right with me. Why is the FBI response team responding to Laura Loomer or to Paramount Tactical or to anybody of these people? Maybe Laura Loomer, I guess she's involved somehow with the government, but Paramount Tactical, a third-rate podcast, I get more views on my live streams than he does. So what exactly is this? That's where I'm going to end the show. What exactly is going on with these people that are attacking us or that are trolling us? And now a federal government account is now joining the fun. And I have firsthand experience with it, and I don't like it. So that's the show. I appreciate you guys for sticking around. I'm going to read whatever super chats are left and memberships. Not the widow. Not the widow. Yeah, man. The widow. I mean, there's just way too much unaligned things going on that just do not make sense. Thank you joining. By the way, Saturday mornings around 10 or 11 Pacific Standard Time, we do our members only live streams. So you'll definitely want to join the memberships, or if you got gifted one today, just like Amy, thank you so much. I've been waiting to see you. Amy, I appreciate she sent me a Cash App for $100. We were cleaning this office. It's all clean now for the most part. We just have to move my desk and stuff. Since my wife's pregnant, I can't move anything by myself. It's too big of the desk and the dresser and the bed, and I got to move stuff. So we used the money to buy Chinese food. So thank you, Amy, and thank you for the gifted memberships. I just wanted you to know that my wife and I were very grateful. Thank you. And say thank you if you got a membership from Amy. Renee says, Lionel put Candace behind a paywall. Greedy, not good. I don't know. I see it differently. I don't think it's greedy. It's content. I put some content behind a paywall, meeting, live stream. Like yesterday, I released a video, and then an hour later, I decided to put it behind the memberships, because I prefer to have it behind a membership. It wasn't because of anything that I thought it was going to get more views or not. It was just that that's just what I wanted to do, So I see it differently. I think that they put out plenty of content for free, just like I do. And if they want to put out content that is gated, I think that if you want to watch it, you should pay for it. If not, don't. But it's not greedy, not in my opinion. Janie Bakes, thanks for the super chat, by the way. Janie Bakes, $1.99. My first thought was AES works with PETN. Interesting. Let me see. We just have one more super, I think, after this. Let's see. What is okay? Let me see. American hazard control type explosive handling more likely. Oh, you're talking about advanced energetic systems. So what you're talking about is the Energetic Systems Corporation. What is it? The one that exploded in Tennessee? Is that the one? Was it that the name of the company? I can't confirm that, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. I can't confirm, but I can't deny either. Good to see you, Nana. Hey, what's up, Nana? Thanks for the 20. Good to see you, Danks. Always enjoy your videos. I appreciate it. Thanks for the big super chat. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's nice to do the content and just provide a little bit of a take on some of this stuff. I appreciate all of you. But yeah, I think that people you don't like. I think it's interesting to watch the chat. Look at this guy right here. You guys aren't being attacked. You're being called out for ridiculous lies you spread from Candace Owens. Think for yourself and actually look at evidence. The gay furry did it, not. Man, I love that comment. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't do my own investigations. I'm sorry. I've never done it. See how they come out of nowhere, they attack. So we never really got this stuff on the account. And then all of a sudden, once these three people started talking about me, they started coming around. Right? I'm just telling you what I see. Yeah, the gay furry did it. Yeah, the gay furry did it. I believe that. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Go to clubvotcher.com if you want to join the community. Love to have you. It'd be great. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.